Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We're going to start our presentation. We're going to be talking about doing an applicant tracking system in SharePoint, and we'll go ahead and get started. Whoops, sorry. There he goes. I'm Will Cooper. I'm a SharePoint developer and consultant and trainer and wear a lot of different hats. And what I do a lot, I build a lot of custom solutions in SharePoint. And today we're going to be looking at a very common need for just about any organization, and that's to do an applicant tracking system. My background is in Microsoft web development. I've been in the Microsoft arena for many years, and I love to do this. I love to build custom solutions. I'm really excited to show you all these neat tools and how you can take advantage of this yourself. Just to tell you a little bit about Infowise, we're about making forms, tools, and solutions easy, and we're always about improving and adding new features, and we just want to keep making things more and more awesome. And we just really love to work with our customers, and we're about building tools that allow you to build out solutions without having to be a developer and without having to do any custom code. And everything you do is right in the SharePoint UI. Towards the end of the presentation today, we're going to give away a cool embroidered polo shirt, so be sure to stick around for that. We'll do a drawing, and that's available for anybody who's inside the United States, just for mailing purposes. That's how we got to do it. In addition to my background doing web development and SharePoint and training and all those type of things, I spent a few years in the mid-2000s doing applicant tracking system implementation, dedicated systems. So I have a lot of experience working with many different kinds of businesses, organizations, helping them set up this exact type of system. In that case, that was a dedicated software that was configured according to customer needs. And I learned a lot about the process, and there's a lot of variation between different businesses. Silk Road Technology was a company that I used to work with when I was doing that. Now, let's talk a little bit about kind of a compare and contrast, because naturally there are options available to you. There are dedicated solutions that you can buy, what you might refer to as canned solution, that are geared and targeted towards this specific process to recruiting and doing applicant tracking, hiring, all that type of stuff. So I want to talk about some considerations, some limits, if you will, as it relates to those type of systems. Naturally, it's going to cost you significant money. There's ongoing subscription fees. Those can add up, especially over the course of months and ultimately many years. There are limitations in terms of the features and functionality. Naturally, it runs the gamut, but you're locked in and you can only do what's available in their specific product. It may or may not match up with your needs. It may have too many of those features. It may have a lot of functions and extra things that you just don't really care about, but you're going to basically be paying for that anyway, since it's all included in the product. Because it has so many of those functions, it can often mean there's a steep learning curve. There can be confusion in terms of how to use it. It can be hard to train your users, and that can be a blocker and make you guys inefficient. It's not necessarily customized according to your own organization. What you're going to find, and what I found as an implementation consultant, is that there's going to be things that you want to do that simply aren't a part of their tools. It's not an option to configure it to work in that particular way. That's going to lead to some frustrations because you're kind of stuck because you've got this quote unquote canned solution. It's not fully adaptable to your custom requirements, so there is a lack of flexibility. Contrast, some of the things I'm going to show you today, this is a system really where you are able to set it up and build it according to exactly what you want to do. It doesn't have kind of preconceived notions, if you will, or things that are already baked in where you're forced to do certain things. It only has the features and functions that you want. You can start simple with this system, which is easy on your users, and then you can customize according to your process, and it can evolve over time. This is fully scalable. This can work if for some of you guys who are in a really small business and you're thinking, this is really a limit to us. We can't afford an expensive system. We can't do anything complicated. It can be simple, or it's fully scalable. You can make it extremely customized and incorporate all kinds of different requirements and processes. By starting simple, it's going to be easy for you to learn and to train your staff, which is a really key consideration. That means you're going to be up on your feet and out the door quickly. This is going to be fast implementation, fast to train your staff, and fast to roll out this system. And the forms that we set up in this system are going to be built by you. It's going to be according to your precise specifications. You can have it look just exactly how you want. Lots of flexibility there. So you can see flexibility is really a big aspect to what we're looking at today. Just to talk a little bit more broadly about our company and our tools. These are tools that deploy into your SharePoint environment. SharePoint on its own is a little bit plain vanilla. It doesn't tend to include everything that you need. It doesn't give you the flexibility to really build out custom solutions, or I should say at least it's not easy to do that. It can be very difficult. With our tools, it's really about making things easy and simple, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. Ultimate Forms is available both for in the cloud or on-premise. So regardless of which type of SharePoint environment you use, you can get these tools. And most of the features are pretty much the same between both versions. So the things I'm showing you today are things you can build in either type of SharePoint environment. To talk more specifically about the recruiting and hiring process, I think that we can all agree an efficient process is critical. It's a competitive environment. It makes a huge impact for you as an organization to make sure you get the right talent and the right people. And there are a lot of other competing organizations trying to get those good people. So this is not an area where you want to compromise. You want to be effective and focused and make it be a good reflection on your company and easier for applicants to apply for positions. That's what we're saying. It should be easy to apply. We want to streamline this, make it simple. There should be no confusion or obstacles for people to apply for positions at your organization. Here's just kind of a general overview of the concepts that we all understand pretty well in terms of the recruiting and hiring process, and then ultimately offer and onboarding, all of those type of things. We're moving through stages. So these can have some variation, but typically the process is all very similar. You have many applicants coming through and it's a funnel, and you're doing screening and making calls and doing first interviews and second interviews and all of that. And so it's a lot of information to keep track of. You want to be organized, efficient, and have a system that can let you do all this easily in a way that's easy to understand. Email notifications naturally are going to be important in this process to make sure that candidate stays updated. We want to drive notifications also internally in your organization to prompt people when it's time for the next step, when it's time for that next interview, when somebody's getting ready to make an offer, all that type of thing. So email notifications are a very important part of the process. Another thing is history tracking. With any particular candidate, I need to be able to know what happened in this process. When was the last time somebody had an interview with them? What were their notes? When did that happen? When's the next time we need to do something? That history thread is relates to each candidate's important. So we need to see that within the form and the tool itself. And I should say, by the way, I forgot to mention, if you have any questions during the presentation, just use the questions interface and go to webinar. Just type out your questions. If we don't get you right away, please be patient. We'll get to you before the end. But that's how you can interact with us, because we definitely want your feedback. Here's some key strategy points. These are things we want to make sure that we accomplish. We want the application form to be easy to understand, easy to use. We want automated email notifications, both to applicant and also to staff in your organization. We want the tracking to be easy to use. We want to reflect the various stages in your interview and hiring process. We want tracking of the whole history of that process. We need to make sure we handle attachments, of course. When your candidates apply, they need to be able to attach their resume and other information, whatever you guys may require. We need to track those interviews. We need to know when those took place. We need a way to put in notes and collaborate inside of your organization as you're trying to make some decisions about whether to move forward. We need to have dashboards that make sense. They're easy to manage. They're not overwhelming. Those are a key part of the process because we naturally can end up with hundreds or even thousands of applicants in the system over time. So we need something that's going to be able to handle all of that and filter down and show you just what you need to know. We also need to handle job templates. Naturally, you guys have different kinds of job openings that come up and then they close down and then you have a new job and that type of thing. That needs to be simple to handle. We need to make sure that it's not a cumbersome process in terms of posting new positions and taking them down, that type of thing. What you should do at the beginning of this process, because every organization is a little bit different, is actually show a process diagram. You want to build this. There's lots of tools you can do this in. I know some of the people I work with, they like Visio. I've seen people even do it in PowerPoint. Whatever you like is fine. A particular tool I like that you can look up on diagrams.net. I only mention this not as a plug to them, but because it's free, simple to use, and it really doesn't require any training whatsoever. You can just drag shapes out onto the canvas, draw your arrows and that type of thing. This is a really good place to start. This is good when you're planning your system to really map out what is it that your organization does specifically, and make sure you have this planned out so that when you begin building your tool, you can go ahead and match up with the process that you drew at this step. Here's just an example of one customer that I work with, and this shows what they're doing. So they've got some notes here, describes their process, and you can see these are the stages in their interview and hiring process. So there may be some similarities, but every organization is a little bit different, but the concept's still the same. You move along the path, you move through those stages until ultimately you will eventually make an offer and then hire new employees. So make sure that you map that out. All right, enough of these boring PowerPoint slides. I'm going to jump out of here. We're going to go right to the stuff that you guys really care about. So what we're going to do, I'm actually going to demonstrate the front end, if you will. I'm going to demonstrate how the solution works so you can appreciate the functionality from that end. And then after I've demonstrated that, I'm going to go and show you that it is actually easy to configure and set these things up. And it's something that you're going to be able to manage yourself. So there's two main lists that I've got in my solution. I have one for the actual applicants, and I've got one for the actual positions, that type of thing. So we're going to start by actually putting in a new position. So we're just going to pretend I have a new job posting. I have an incredibly simple list that I've set up, which I just have called positions, and I'm going to post a new position. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I've got a local website here, and I'm just going to put in a new job from that just because I don't want to bore you guys to death by sitting here typing all this stuff out during our call today. So here, I'm just going to do a little copy and paste, and this will go quick. Here, I'm going to change this to Software Developer 3 because I think I have another one like that. And we got a rich text editor. So this is SharePoint form. This should look pretty familiar to you. It's slightly customized according to things with Ultimate Forms. We're going to see a very customized form here in just a second. And like I said, this is just for demonstration purposes. So I'm just going to kind of copy and paste a bunch of stuff just so we can move it right along. I'm sure everybody's familiar with writing a job description. I've got an active toggle on here. This is how you're going to basically make jobs be active or not, because obviously once you're done with the position, once you hired somebody, you need to deactivate it. So in effect, these are templates that will remain there and you can reuse it and that type of thing. So if you're posting a job that already existed before, you can just turn this flag on and off, that type of thing. Okay, so I just posted this position for Software Developer 3. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm just using my consulting website, and that's just because it's any old website. So I'm not actually hiring people in my business right now, but it's to demonstrate the concept of the system. So we have two things in play. We have a public website and we have the SharePoint website. Now, the thing that's nice is we can develop the form inside of SharePoint. I'm going to demonstrate to you how this works. It will actually, you have a little code snippet which will publish out on your public website. So that's kind of a new concept. That is 100% absolutely not something that's available or anything that you can do with SharePoint out of the box. It's a feature with Ultimate Forms that we have. You can do what are called public forms. You have the ability to expose the form so that people can do that. Okay, so this is what people are going to see in the public website. And if you go in here, lo and behold, you're going to see the new job that I just posted, Software Developer 3. Okay, so we've got a drop down, and the user can view the job description by just clicking on this link over here. So this is just the form that you just saw me in. Literally, I was just copying and pasting, and this is public form. One thing I want to point out, as a part of this, it does include a CAPTCHA, and this just is a spam blocker. It stops bots from giving you garbage submissions in your application form. So that's built in. You do have to register with Google for that, which takes you probably 5 minutes, doesn't cost anything at all. All right, so I'm going to put a new dummy person in. Put some in silly. Okay. Mike, excited, gmail.com. Okay, I'm going to dummy in some info here. Now you can put whatever kind of fields you want. I'm going to show you how easy this is. These are nothing but SharePoint list fields. You can put anything you want. So I just kind of came up with some general things. All these can be validated. So obviously, if you need to require certain pieces of information, you can have the validation of the form, make sure your applicants don't submit unless they've got everything that they're supposed to have in there. So you can have as much or as little as you want for your applicants to fill out. That's entirely up to you. Hopefully you agree this is a simple and easy to understand form that I'm working in. We're going to say graduated just last week. Again, I'm just trying to move through the form quickly. One thing you definitely should do is track and see where your applicants are coming from. So be sure to ask them that question. It'll help you to understand in terms of your marketing or whatever else you're doing, how you're receiving applicants, what's working, what's not. And then I can bake in instructions into the form really easy. And what's cool, and I'm going to show you this in a second, is I don't have to do any code at all to do this. It's all just a visual tool. I can drag and drop and move things around and use a rich text editor. Very, very simple to do all of that. Okay, so what I do want to do is put in a resume. I've got a dummy resume, and it's just drag and drop. I hope you would agree that's a simple thing that your candidates will be able to do, and it just shows up there once they've done it. All of you guys in the HR and hiring world know there's all kinds of legal mumbo jumbo and things that we got to do that's required by law, and so the organization doesn't have a lawsuit come against them. And naturally that varies by region. You know, in the United States, there's various laws. Each state has its own laws. Each type of organization has laws. It's all over the board. And you guys know those laws better than anybody else. So the most important thing for you to know is that you can just bake in all of that information into your form and validate and make sure that your candidates put it in. So this gives all those detailed instructions to the candidate. You can just copy and paste it in from Word and do some formatting, things like that. I'm just going to be one of these people that says I don't disclose, which is my legal right. And another thing you can see, I kind of put these in pink just to draw attention. But what's good about this is it won't let the candidate submit unless they actually have done all these. And just to prove that point, let's submit. There you can see it says, hey, you didn't answer all our questions. So this is good. This covers you from a legal standpoint. You can get all that information right up front on the application. Okay, bam. Mike has put everything in. Good job, Mike. Okay, obviously Mike needs to know he did put in the application. You don't want him to apply 3 times because he didn't know he did. So one thing that's cool is you can make it to redirect to a confirmation page. Again, this is just for dummy information. I'm not actually hiring for any positions on my website, but it's just all a demonstration on a public website to show you how that would work. So you would have a thank you and confirm form. Another thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to have an automatic email go out to the candidate. Just to demonstrate that, I took a screenshot of one I did earlier. And this is automated and easy to set up. I'll also demonstrate that to you. But naturally, you should confirm to the candidate, let them know how long they should expect for a response, what your process is, all that type of thing. So that's going to be automated based on the email that they put in the form. All right, so that's it. That's everything that we need to deal with on the public website. And to do that, you really just embed a code, which is quite simple and easy to do. Here, let's kill this. And now we get to go into the SharePoint. We get to get into the fun stuff. Okay, so I have a dashboard that I set up. And that is on here. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to have some tiles. This can make it easy to navigate and that type of thing. So I have all these various stages and things like that. So if I just want to see all the applicants together, I'm just going to go to the applicants view. Okay, and if you look in here, you're going to see Mike Q excited, applied for Software Developer 3. Notice I did a group by here. This is going to help you out, right? Because maybe you got a whole bunch of applications coming in all at once and it becomes a jumble all at once, but maybe I'm the one who's hiring for Software Developer 3 and I need to track that one. Notice we also got a progress bar over here. That's going to help us see how far along they are in the process. That's just based on stage. I just made a rule which gives a numeric value from 1 to 6, I believe, depending on where they are. So we give them a 1 when they're in the initial stage. So the initial stage it's called initial, great name, right? Okay, so I'm going into the form. Now we're going to see it from the organization standpoint. You're going to see what you see inside. Now, here's one thing I want you to notice. Do you guys really want to see all that EEO and all that gobbledygook at the bottom of the form again? No, I'm absolutely 100% certain you don't. I'd have this long scrolling form of stuff you don't care about. What I do care about is what they responded. So I just was able to roll that up and it just shows we do have their information, but basically collapse that whole section of the form. Notice this form looks similar to what I had, but it also looks a lot different. See this whole green section? Obviously, the applicant didn't see any of that, but it is in the same form. We have rules which control how that works. So, candidate's going to come in. The hiring managers, going to get an email that somebody applied for their job, and they're going to come to the system and they go, okay, I need to go into my green staff update section, and they're going to do what? They're going to say, I'm going to give this guy a call. And then also we have dispositions. This is something you want for tracking as you're screening out candidates and things like that. I can let you put reasons for that. So those are just some example ones that I put in. I just put in the name of the person who's doing the phone screen, and when did I do it? I called him today. Mike seems really excited about this job. Let's move on. And one thing that's cool, this will just expand and collapse dynamically. So I can do that in Chrome, or I can, if I keep putting new stuff in here, it'll just see how it's a scroll bar. So there's really no limit to your notes and things. But I also don't, have a form that scrolls down forever. So that's notes about the phone screen. That's all I have to do. I just changed the stage, I put in some notes, and I hit submit. I would hope that you agree that was pretty simple. And what I want you to notice is, the stage change, right? So Mike's in phone screen now. His progress bar changed. Okay, so he's further along in the process. Yeah, I've got all Mike's key information on here. If I'm just on the dashboard, I can pick up the phone and call him or shoot him an email. We have an application ID that's auto-generated. It's just a way to have a unique identifier for the candidate in the system. So I seeded that at 1,000. I'll just keep adding one each time. And if I go back in the form, I'm going to show you something that I talked about in the intro that's super important. When you are doing this, you need tracking, right? You need to know what's going on. When did it move to phone screen? Who did the phone screen? When did that happen? How long has it been? Et cetera, all the way along the process, because you don't want to let anything slip through the cracks and want it to stall. And what do you see here? It says, Will Cooper on March 18 at 11:23 changed the stage to phone screen, okay? it's going to stack up. As I go through this process, you're going to see that we'll continue to update, and that's really important. All right, Mike's coming in for his in-person interview. Okay, we're really interested in Mike. He's getting fast-tracked here. Okay, obviously you put a lot more notes than this, but we just are demonstrating, right? And this can include whatever you want. This is a basic form that I set up, but you can have it as extensive as you need to go. There's really no limit on the amount of fields or information that you can put in for tracking. Okay, so I'm going to change the stage again, right? That was for interview 1. And I'm not going to drag you guys all the way through the process because I think you can probably see the process or see the idea based on what I'm doing. And you're going to see, Mike's going to have his progress bar up to 50%. Mike's at interview 1. He's moving through. So you can see we've got like a good dashboard system. Another thing, especially as I get into hundreds of applicants, I'm not going to want to see all of them all together for one thing. So you can just do different kind of views for that. So if I want to check all my candidates who are at interview 1, I've got a filter view and I just click the tile. So we got Billy the Kid and Mike Q excited. So I don't know who's going to be the better pick, but one of these guys is going to get through the door. Okay, so that's the general concepts. Now, in showing you all this, I'm hoping that some of you guys are skeptical and saying, well, that looks cool, Will, but you pulled off some kind of magic or things in the background, or you did a lot of heavy work and all kinds of things to make that happen. I have no idea how you do that, and that would be impossible for me to pull off, or how would I do it, or where do I download the template, and on and on. Okay, I'm going to try to spend the rest of this presentation just to show you that, in fact, it wasn't that difficult, it wasn't hard to pull off, and it's something that's very easy and manageable. Okay, with Ultimate Forms, this is an app you can install into your tenant, and once you do, you're going to see more options show up in the toolbar. I just clicked on the design button. This takes you to the main dashboard of all of the building tools for Ultimate Forms. Just a big giant toolbox, you can think of it that way. And probably the most important, the first thing I want to talk to you about is the Form Designer tool. Naturally, there's no custom form building natively in SharePoint. There is Microsoft's Power Apps platform, steep curve in terms of learning, a lot of development effort, time consuming, not a fast form building tool. This one does let you build things quickly and easily, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how that stuff works. Okay, so this is the form, and it's drag and drop style interface. I can just click on fields, I can reorder them, I can move them around, I can do things like create roles. Remember there's this full name field that just gets automatically built. And I didn't have to write any script or code or anything like that. I just set a role in there and said, oh, full name, that's just first name, middle name, and last name. I didn't even have to type in those codes and square brackets. I just come through the list and I can just double click and it just shows up there. Hopefully you can agree that doesn't require you to be a developer or programmer to do that. Simple and easy to understand. And then there's other things like controlling on whether the fields are fields they fill out or the read only. This is one just used by the system. So I just set this role, I say, oh, this is just read only. And that just makes it so that the UI, it's not something they type into. It's just automatically entered by the system. You can see the red asterisks by the required fields. And then naturally in an application form, we need to put in lots of custom instructions, things like that to guide candidates. Again, you don't have to do any fancy coding or anything like that. I'll show you how that works. This is a a control just called a fragment. It's just a little block, if you will. And this will let you use a rich text editor tool to format according to however you want it to look. I can make it big or small or whatever, really simple to work with. And that just changes how it looks here. And then I can also do some background styles. I don't like yellow, let's just say. I'm going to change that to lime green. And I just had to pick a color swatch. I didn't have to type in any hex color codes or anything crazy like that. Let's say I want like a nice thick border on that for whatever reason. And you can see it changes real time in the form. Really easy to understand. I don't have to worry about whether I typed anything wrong or anything like that. Once I've done that, I just click publish. and makes the changes live on the form. Especially if you're building an application form, there's going to be lots of little tweaks and edits and things you need to do. So it's absolutely vital you have a system like this where you can make those changes and see those results, and it's easy to work with. And you don't have it bottlenecked where just that one program or your organization is the only one who has any clue to change this stuff. You can change it. Anybody can do it. Okay, and then I could do things like put little headers on here. I don't even have to load in my own icons. See, if I want to do a different icon, I just made it a boat. Okay, I didn't have to go fishing around, browsing down to some image directory, anything like that. It's just simple and easy to understand concepts. Just drop downs and pick options. All this is just easy to understand. I see exactly what it does right away in the process. Okay, so I basically just drag these things out. Now, in terms of the multi-column setup, very simple. You just have containers, and in the container you can drag this control, and I can set things to 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. See how that works? I didn't have to put in, float, left, margin, right, 200 pixel, padding, I'm not doing any of that crazy CSS. I don't have to deal with that whatsoever. And that's awesome. It means you're going to move fast. And once again, you don't have to have any developer or programmer or anything like that. And that's how you lay out your form. Now, remember, I had some rules on here because obviously I only want certain sections to show up in certain cases. And that's really simple. I just set a rule on this entire green box. What did it say? Right on edit display. Is that hard to understand? I don't think so. I want it to be right. I just pick that thing and I just check boxes for edit display. And that's why when the candidate's filling out the application on the new form, they don't see the box. I have a rule that says don't show the box for that. Show it only after that. Okay, same thing for the bottom. I don't want to see all this stuff. That's just for the candidate. We're all very familiar inside of our organization with all these hiring rules and legalities and all that kind of stuff. And therefore, I said, make that writable just on the new form, right? Check the new form, hit save. Not hard. You're not going to have smoke coming out your ears doing this. Easy, easy, easy to deal with. And then all these things, what are they? They're just nothing more but these formatted rich text fields. You need to spend some time tweaking this, probably a little bit, but not hard to understand. Anybody can work on that. Now, obviously, these things get updated too. So you just come into the form and tweak that, and it's easy to deal with. Okay, so that's how you deal with that form. And then you can even customize your buttons. I have this button bar instead of the default SharePoint buttons. I changed save to submit, and then I changed the background color. Let's just say we want to make our button a blue button now. Just pick blue, hit save. Now our submit's a blue button. You can see this isn't hard to deal with. Okay, email notifications. Those are important. Oh, well, I need to mention something very critical, and that has to do with the public form. Okay, so we have an option. It's called external form. And it's a simple interface, and in most cases in SharePoint, you have internal forms only, right? It's not for people outside the organization, but this is the feature we offer. You just toggle on this box, allow access for external, and you're going to set it. It's only available in this case just for the new form. And then when you turn on allow hosted forms, what it'll do, it'll give you a little snippet with some links and information. Remember the redirect when the applicant submitted. You just put in whatever that URL is. And then it gives you a little snippet of code. That's it. It's just this few lines of code. You just drop that into a blank page in your website, and that's all that you have to do. That is the entirety of what you have to do. You do also need to register the your public website URL. So all you had to do here is put that in, and then you have to put in your CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA stuff, all that kind of thing. That is the entirety of what you have to do to get the embedded form. All right, email notifications. Email notifications, real easy to do. Again, this is something you'd have to do maybe through Power Automate or something like that. Not a really fun or efficient process. In our tools, there's an email notification system. In this case, whenever a new person applies, I want it to go to the candidate. I have my name in there, but what you would do is use the email. Whoop. Not that one. And it'll just go to whatever's in the email address. It'll automatically go out. When does it send? When the item's added. And then I can make a template. There's the visual editor tool again. and it's applicants, new application, and this is what drove the email. So I can format this however I want. I can do shading, different size, whatever. And with these type of systems, typically there's going to be lots of different types of email notifications because you're prompting people inside the organization to take next steps and that type of thing. And what you should know is just that it's very, very easy to set those rules and manage those notification rules inside of our system. Yes, I will lose my work. Okay, and then also you're going to have some workflow behind this. I do have this for the history tracking. I have a single rule, and it inserts some tracking there. That's easy to set up. We can help you with that if you have questions or want to know more about how to do that. All that's just managed here within the system, just from our form tools. I did do a public form also for the positions, so that would be visible as a public form. And naturally, there can be many complicated concepts and workflow rents and things like that when it comes to an applicant tracking system. But really, all that type of thing can be accommodated. If you want to build it yourself, you have all the tools and everything available. We offer a training program. Let me talk to you a little bit about next steps, and then we're going to get to the shirt drawing. If you go to the Infowise website, what you want to do is click on the big green button. Okay, and the most important first thing to do would be to do a trial. You can either install it on your tenant, or if you just want to do it real quick, you can do online trial and register inside of our SharePoint environment. You can be up and running and practicing on your own forms in 5 minutes. So you got two options there, but the most important thing after this presentation will be to try that out. If you need help, if you want somebody to help you out to build an applicant tracking system for your organization, that option is available too. That's not done directly by Infowise. We do have consulting partners that are certified and experts in our tools. If that's the type of help you need, just drop us an email, and you can contact me or our organization. My email is willc@infowisesolutions.com. Let's pause on the presentation for a second. I want to do what I promised. I want to give you guys a shirt. And the way we're going to do that is I've got a number in my head, and whoever gets that, and make one guess, please, 1 to 100. Whoever gets closest, they're going to get a shirt. And we'll go down. And we're going to do it quick. Please guess once. And I'm going to make a pick here in about 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hopefully I don't say this name badly. Mircea. I'm just spelling it out. You're the winner. What I need you to do is email me with your shirt size and your address, and we'll get you taken care of. Send an email to willc@infowisesolutions.com, and we'll get you taken care of. And that is the bulk of what I want to show you. I know you got lots of questions about this, about how it works, how to set it up, all that type of thing, and we're going to stick around to answer your questions in chat. I really appreciate you joining for the presentation. These tools are awesome. I love them. I use them every day in my work. I build all kinds of different solutions. We have training available for you that's provided with all of our customers. Every customer gets access to our Kickstart training materials when they first begin. We do also have instructor-led training available. We have tutorials, which give you all kinds of instructions on how to use the different features and functions. If you're interested in other kinds of tools and systems you can build, you can check out our webinar section. You browse through, you're going to see that we have lots of HR-based solutions, including learning management, onboarding, performance tracking, expense tracking, you name it. It goes on and on and on and on. There's all kinds of different things that you can build with these tools. That's pretty much everything we wanted to show today. Next month, we're going to be doing a presentation to talk about the Microsoft Teams platform. We're going to be demonstrating and showing you how these tools and custom forms can be used and shown inside of the Teams platform in addition to SharePoint. So for those of you guys who really like Teams, hope you'll sign up and join us for that one. And that's it. We're going to keep the session running. So stick around on chat. We'll do our best to answer your questions. Hope this interests you. Hope this gives you some ideas. And I'm hoping that some of you are going to be building your own applicant tracking system using Ultimate Forms. Thank you very much.